Hello everyone, we're going to continue in chapter 4.4, square roots and powers. So again, we're going to learn some rules concerning square roots, only now we're going to combine that with powers this time, right? And to introduce you to the first rule, you can say, I'm going to take a look at a few examples. We know that square root 9 is 3. Why? Because 3 squared is 3 times 3 is 9, right? Square root 16 equals 4 because 4 squared is 4 times 4 is 16. We also already know that the square root of a squared is a because a squared is a times a, it gives me a squared. Knowing this, if I take a root of a to the power of 8, does that become a to the power of 4 or does that become a to the power of 6? I think the answer is a to the power of 8. Why? A to the power of 4 times a to the power of 4 will give me a to the power of 8 again. Remember, multiplying powers like this, I have to add the exponents. 4 plus 4 is 8. If I would find, for example, a to the power of 6, yeah, then I do 6 plus 6, I find 12. And that's not what I want to find here. And that's the influence that a square root have on a power. A square root actually just divides the power in half, you can say. You can say the index, we now call the exponent in this version of numbers in space, previously called as the index. So the exponent, number in the air, is just being divided by 2. So the root of a to the power of 8 is 4. Of the b to the power of 6 is 3. X to the power of 30 is 15. Remember, if I also have numbers inside of my root, those you just calculate as normally, right? So here, do not say 16 divided by 2 is 8. No, the root of 16 is 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. The a squared becomes a. And divide the 2 by 1, you can say. So it becomes a to the power of 1. A to the power of 1 is just a. Or use your knowledge of root of a power of 2. Then the square and the root disappear. Okay? Another rule that I want you to introduce to is that I want to put as many factors as possible outside of the square root. That means if I take a root of a power that's uneven, or odd, I should say, then what I can do is I can split it again. So the root of a to the power of 9 is the same as saying, well, that's the root of a to the power of 8 times a. Right? It's actually 1 here. Add the exponents a to the power of 9. Then I can split them again. This part is even now, so I can take the root of a to the power of 8, gives me a to the power of 4, square root a. Here, with x to the power of 13, split one x off of the others, giving me an even number here, which I can divide by 2, gives me x to the power of 6, root x. So don't write down x to the power of 6.5, which technically is correct, but we will discuss that later on. Instead, I want you to write it like this. So x to the power of 6 root x, a to the power of 4 root a. And the splitting you only do when your exponent is odd, right? Because here, if it's even, you just divide it by 2 and you're done. It's not even, you first have to split one letter off it, you can say. So let's practice. What's the root of 16a to the power of 16? Remember, numbers in front you just calculate as you normally do. So root 16 becomes 4, and root a to the power of 16 becomes a to the power of 8, right? Because you divide 16 by 2 gives me 8. Here you have to be a bit more careful, because I have to take a look at root 12, root a to the power of 12, and root b squared. And here I think the letters aren't that concerning because they are both even. So that can give me a to the power of 6, and b squared just becomes b. But remember that I can factorize 12 as well. So here I split 12 into 4 times 3. Why? I can split this in root 4 times 3, and root 4 is 2. So the 2 is now outside of the square root. A to the power of 12 becomes a to the power of 6. B squared becomes b. And the 3 is still left inside of the root, and I cannot do anything with it, and that's fine. Here, root 25, I can calculate. That's just 5. The problem here lies in a to the power of 9 and b to the power of 5. Split it like this. A to the power of 8 times a, b to the power of 4 times b. Root 25 is 5. A to the power of 8, the root of that is a to the power of 4. And the root of b to the power of 4 is b squared, leaving me with 5, the root of 25, a to the power of 4, b squared, and inside the root I'm left with a, b, and that's just totally fine. That's just your final answer here. Okay? And this is the overview that the book gives you. Take a look at this as well. I've provided you with some different examples as well. Yeah, so be wary that if you have an odd number as an exponent, for example b to the power of 3, you have to split it like this. And if I have a large number in front of my letters, be wary that sometimes you can factorize those, right? For that I have to, if you find that difficult, take a look at the previous paragraph. Good luck, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me during the lesson.